Imagine you're hemorrhaging, life draining from your body. The year is 1667, and your only hope lies in a desperate gamble, a blood transfusion. These weren't the safe practices we know today. For hundreds of years, transfusions were like playing Russian roulette, a terrible game of chance with the odds stacked against you. Back then, our blood held an elusive secret. The medical community gambled, patients suffered, and the mystery of blood remained hidden. Then, in 1900, a visionary Austrian doctor embarked on a quest to unlock the secrets of blood and rewrite the rules of transfusions forever. His work would earn him a Nobel Prize and go on to save billions of lives. Hey there, history lovers. Mr. Mayflower here with another deep dive into fascinating stories from our past. If you love history, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And now, let's get into it. Two scientific breakthroughs in the 1600s made blood transfusions possible. First, William Harvey rocked the medical world with his groundbreaking description of how blood circulates through the body. Then, in 1659, Christopher Wren invented a syringe for injecting things intravenously. And yes, that's the same Christopher Wren, superstar architect that we all know and love. With these tools in hand, doctors in England and France began transfusing blood between animals. In 1665, English physician Richard Lower performed the first animal-to-animal transfusion in dogs. Then, in 1667, Richard Lower and Jean-Baptiste Denis in France reported successful blood transfusions between sheep and humans. Hard to imagine how that was a success? Must have had to do with the small amount of blood that was transfused. But later attempts by Dr. Denis didn't go so well, killing Swedish Baron Gustav Bond and a mentally ill man named Antoine Moret. In fact, human-to-human blood transfusions back then didn't just kill the recipient, they often killed the donor. They were so dangerous that they were banned by the Royal Society in Britain and the French government. And the Vatican followed suit in the year 1670. Research ground to a halt for about 150 years. Finally, in 1818, British obstetrician James Blundell performed the first successful human-to-human blood transfusion, saving a woman after postpartum hemorrhage by using her husband as a donor. Blundell performed 10 more transfusions over the next decade, and although only half of them were successful, this was still huge news, and Blundell became a star. He invented several instruments to assist in transfusions, many of them still in use today. They say that his inventions were so successful that he became quite rich. But still, blood transfusions remained deadly for another 100 years. Patients died so often after receiving human blood that doctors scrambled to find blood substitutes. In 1854, American doctors became enthusiastic about injecting cow and goat milk into people, and miraculously, enough people who received cow milk infusions survived and improved that it was deemed to be safe. But understandably, the practice never took off. Other blood substitutes that were tried in the 1800s include saline solution, hemoglobin, animal plasma, and Ringer solution, which was comprised of sodium, potassium, and calcium salts. But none of these substitutes replaced the action of red blood cells, and so their effectiveness was limited. That all changed with a discovery by a doctor in Vienna, Austria. Dr. Karl Landsteiner was performing autopsies for the University of Vienna when, in a paper about disease written in 1900, he included a fascinating footnote. In it, he described the clumping that can occur when one person's blood is brought into contact with that of another. The next year, Dr. Landsteiner described 3 different blood groups, which he called types A, B, and C, although C was later renamed O. Apparently unaware of just how monumental and transformative his discovery was, Dr. Landsteiner wrote, "I hope this will be of some use to mankind." 7 years later, one of Landsteiner's students, Adriano Sturley, and his associate, Alfred von de Castello, discovered the 4th major blood type, AB. Dr. Landsteiner ended up moving to the United States in 1922 to do medical research in New York City. And in 1930, he won the Nobel Prize in Medicine for recognition and discovery of human blood groups. Despite the acclaim, Landsteiner continued to downplay his discovery, maintaining that his work in the field of serologic reactions, which are used in disease and antibody testing, was more important than his work with blood types. But of course, the discovery of blood types was revolutionary. Doctors quickly surmised that transfusion safety would be improved by matching blood types between donor and recipient. In 1907, Reuben Ottenberg performed the first blood transfusion using blood typing, and other transfusions followed. But there was one big obstacle in blood transfusions that remained. You see, blood couldn't be stored outside of the body without clotting. All transfusions up to this point were performed directly from human to human, with donor and recipient lying side by side. That changed in 1915 when American Richard Lewison determined that sodium citrate, when used in the right amount, was a perfect anticoagulant, allowing for blood to be stored safely for several days. So really, Landsteiner and Lewison were the dream team when it comes to blood transfusions. Thanks to their groundbreaking work, blood transfusions went from risky business to a life-saving staple. They cracked the code, making transfusions safe and practical, changing the game for patients everywhere. Their discoveries also laid the foundation for the global network of blood banks that we rely on today. Next time you hear about a blood drive or donate blood yourself, you can thank these two trailblazers for making it all possible. Oh, and that network of blood banks and the miracle of blood transfusions, they've saved over 1 billion lives to date. And there you have it, folks, from a deadly game of chance to the pinnacle of medical innovation, from the harrowing days of risky procedures to the groundbreaking discoveries of Dr. Karl Landsteiner and Richard Lewison. The story of blood transfusions is one of tragedy, bold curiosity, and triumph. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe for more fascinating stories from the history that we all share.